were the Shockers in danger of missing out on the NCAA tournament, or are they in danger? Is there still a possibility in which the Shockers could miss the NCAA tournament? I say this because, as Shocker fans, at the beginning of the year, we said, listen, the Shockers are going to lose some games this year because they're playing a much tougher schedule, especially in conference, so be prepared for some losses. And then losses happen, and even I went, no, this is terrible. I did not. I let my emotions go. So after the win, so for a 6-game stretch, the Shockers lost 3 games, and confidence crumbled. And what's wrong? What changes need to be made? Oh no, we don't have good enough assistant coaches. We don't have good enough guards. All the kinds of stuff. But then Memphis, but then the Shockers won at Memphis, and it feels like the wheels are back on track. Okay, so maybe we're out of the woods. Was there ever a time where objectively, not my emotional swings, but objectively, we could say the Shockers were in jeopardy of missing out on the NCAA tournament?
That's a really tough question.
Yeah.
Because really, you have no idea what the selection committee is going to do each year, and so for me, I'm usually more optimistic than the average fan, but I had some doubt, because looking at the recent track record of the committee, and they put so much weight lately on these quality wins, these top 25 wins, top 50 wins, whatever it is each year. And that's one area the Shockers just don't have a lot of on their resume. And so after the Temple loss, I was like, okay.
That was a bad one.
we can debate whether that was a bad loss or not.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think we have different
I think it was a bad loss. You can maybe even swing me because you make good arguments about some of their non-conference games and stuff like that, but that was a tough one to watch.
It was tough because it was one of those games like the Notre Dame one where the Shockers hadn't wrapped up. They should have won. We can talk whether it was a quality loss or not, but the point is they should have won that game, and they blew it at the end. And so after the Temple loss, I was reevaluating things. I was like, okay, some might argue this was a bad loss, and that was one area where the Shockers, didn't have any blemishes on their resume. And now you could argue, okay, maybe the Temple is a bad loss. I don't think it is. But again, going back to the committee, I'm just not confident in what they're going to do each year. And so I just have a little concern still.
You can't even rely on top 25. I mean, because you would think, mathematically in your head, if you're a top 25 team, that means you're a 7 seed at worst, 7 or 8 seed at worst, which should get you in on the at-large bid. But there have been top 25 teams at the end of the year who were left out. Not many.
That's true.
Not many.
It's
but there
very
have been
rare.
Some.
But
so the fact that the Shockers dropped to 22, and we're assuming they're probably going to go up as long as there's no other hiccups. They dropped to 22, so they never left the top 25. So there was some comfort there. But it wasn't a guarantee. No. So that was a little scary. Let me ask you this now. Is there a scenario in which the rest of the season could go so poorly in a way that the Shockers are celebrating an NIT bid? That they're not getting into the NCAA tournament? If the 2 Cincinnati games are coming up, and they're ranked number 6 right now. You've got the revenge game against SMU that Shockers already lost that one. Shockers, have already lost. Is it Temple? I think we play again.
Yeah, Temple.
We play Temple again, and it was an overtime loss on the road, so you got to think that's going to come out with a better outcome at home. But there are some significant games. What do the Shockers have to do just to ensure they make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that's tough because you mentioned, is there a scenario where they make the NIT? And the answer is yes, but they would have to lose a bunch of games in my book, and I don't think that's likely. You're talking about, in the regular season, there's really 4 quality games left.
Yeah.
The 2 Cincinnati at SMU and home against Temple.
Okay.
And so those are all top 50 opponents. Cincinnati's obviously top 25 there. And so Shockers have to, in my book, win at least 2 of those.
Okay.
And ideally 3. Two would, I think, for sure get them in the NCAA tournament.
So the Shockers can get swept by Cincinnati and still get in.
I think they can.
I agree. I think so. Because that's a quality loss. Obviously, 2 quality losses.
Because they're what, number 6 in the nation now?
I would agree that they get in. To me, that's not acceptable, though.
No.
You don't want that.
That last home game of the season, senior
Oh,
night
man,
against
what a
Cincinnati.
night. What a game.
On CBS.
Yeah.
Man, the Shockers have to find a way to win that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't expect them to go into Cincinnati and win, just because Cincinnati is just playing so well right now.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be awesome if they did win that one, but you gotta hold serve at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the Shockers can beat Cincinnati at home, I'm assuming they're going to beat Temple in Coke this time.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could steal a win at SMU, I think they're set. They're golden. They're going to get in. They're going to get a 5 or 6 seed probably.
And that seems realistic to me.
Yes.
That does not seem like we're grasping
We're not asking for a lot
straws
there.
or hoping for something that's not realistic. That seems like it's plausible to me. Best case scenario, you sweep everybody, you run the table,
That would be nice.
and then you're talking about maybe a 3 or 4 seed again, potentially, possibly.
Yeah.
There is so much
I know,
that is
there's
going to
just-
happen over the next 3-4 weeks. And the Shockers, what is a good thing for Wichita State? They still control their own destiny.
Yes,
The
they
way
do.
the schedule's set up, the way everything, win out, and you're golden. You're doing great.
And they control their own destiny for an at-large berth.
Yes.
Which,
Yeah.
obviously, in the conference tournament, you control your own destiny for an automatic berth.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something they didn't have in the Valley. Is if they lost a couple of games in the Valley, it's
Yeah.
we're going to have to win the tournament now. And so now this better conference. Okay, we have 2 games against a top 10 opponent
Yeah.
coming up in the next month, and that's a blessing. Like
Yeah, that's huge.
for how much concern there was in the past couple weeks about the Shockers. You have 2 golden opportunities there. You have at SMU.
Yeah.
You can move the needle.
We know. I think Cincinnati is definitely more established to be an at-large team. They're in the NCAA tournament.
yeah.
Wichita State, I'm going to assume they're in too. Are there any others who are just in, who from the conference? Can we say there could be 3 or 4 who are getting in?
I think eventually there will be 3 or 4, but to say which of those, because
Mm-hmm.
right now there are only 5 teams that have a shot of an at-large berth. Shockers, Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
and then SMU, Houston, and Temple.
Okay.
I think right now, if the field was set, Houston would make it.
I think Houston's in. I do too. Yeah.
Just they have 3 really good wins,
Yeah, beat Wichita State,
they
yeah.
really only have 1 bad loss on the season.
Okay.
And so SMU's, man, they've been hit with some injuries. I know Shake Milton's been out the last couple of games with a hand injury, and so they've kind of faltered. I don't know how the committee will adjust that with the injuries.
Okay.
And then Temple, I thought they were completely out of it, and then they beat the Shockers,
Yeah.
and then
There's a chance.
now like okay, they have 3 top 25 wins on the season. They have a top 10 strength of schedule, so if they finish the season strong, I think they have a chance to make
Boy,
it.
that's more of a stretch, but I could see it happening. And then someone's got to win the conference tournament,
Right, yeah.
And so that's Cincinnati's the front runner there, and Wichita State's number 2. But anything can happen in tournament play, for sure. So, boy, there is so much,
There is
so
so
much
much
that's going to
in one
happen.
month.
It's going to be so much fun. We're loving it. But I feel good after this discussion. The Shockers are in. I really think they're in realistically. It could go off the rails and terrible things could happen that could keep them out. But realistically, I think the Shockers are still in the NCAA tournament. And it didn't get that bad. It got bad, didn't get that bad.
Agreed.